Would you rather have one realtor or would you rather have 100 realtors?
What's the biggest win so far you have?
So I can get you $30,000 potentially for 30 more days.
Top 3 advice for people who are watching us.
I didn't want to be a one-trick pony and only know how to wholesale.
So how many deals you closed so far?
iSpeedToLead ones are 23 of 23.
$500,000, okay. Hey guys, this is Yuri with iSpeedToLead, and I'm really excited today to actually talk to one of the most requested people to follow up on since his first initial testimonial video where he started closing a lot right away and had a pretty interesting prehistory. Mr. John Looney. So we are catching up on him, checking what's the progress, how is he doing, and how he's helping other investors to close some deals. Man, glad to have you again. How's it going?
I appreciate it, man. Things are going wonderful. Learning more, doing more, closing more. I'm having a great time. I'm getting everything and more of everything that I wanted out of this real estate experience.
Awesome. So what would you say is the biggest wins right now, you would say? And how long have you been? Like, cover that too.
My first day was August the 12th. I just started cold turkey. So I said, I want to do real estate. And I bought my first flip on August 12th. And I started doing wholesale also the same day, August 12th. I just said, I'm got to go cold turkey, cold plunge it and just do it.
So what's the biggest win so far you have?
Closing the deals, as humble as I'm trying to be, that like, I expected to do that because that's what I was doing before. But I didn't expect to learn. I really dove in on the education. And when I say education, like writing down everything I learned, like teaching myself, being self-taught. I learned my biggest win, I guess you could say, is I've closed deals with every exit strategy. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a one-trick pony and only know how to wholesale. But then they say it's difficult to do novations. Well, I've closed more novations than wholesales now. And then I've also closed 2 subject twos this week. I have a closing for subject to plus creative finance today. And it's only because I just wanted to learn those strategies so that next year I can adapt and do better.
So which strategy would you say is the easiest for you and why?
That's tricky because the wholesale lead is a wholesale lead, but they don't know what their exit strategy is. They don't know what way is the best way for them. So I think the best methods are the ones that just allow me to unfold their problems and figure it out. Like if it's a really nice home, you're not going to get them a low cash offer wholesale price. They got a good interest rate. You're not going to novate it because no one's going to buy that for 7% interest. So it's just like pickleball, like you just never really know until you talk to them and figure out their discovery and their story and their timeline, and you figure out what's the right button for them.
So you started implementing more exit strategies. How do you decide, and at what point, and like what kind of exit strategy you will be leaning towards? So let's imagine you're on the call. So you start asking questions. Are you going by RJ's framework initial, like, hey, how much do you want for property, or you have some different strategy, and how does it flow from there?
So I 100% go with how RJ teaches the beginning lines of, getting the information of the price from the seller. I would want every deal to go down as a wholesale transaction because they're quick, they're easy, they're smooth, and the contract is only 1 page. So it's easy. But once you start doing discovery, you figure out that not everyone fits in that box. It's not a one size fits all or whatever method. And so then I was like, okay, well, like I had a house, my first novation, it was a 2023 build. He bought it up a year ago. That you can't get a low cash offer because he doesn't have that much equity. So I was like, man, how the heck can I this is a deal, but I just don't know how to close it. So that really upsetted me and it pissed me off. So I learned everything about novations in like 72 hours and got my first novation. And that one actually hit the closing table. That was in Flint, Texas. That was at iSpeedToLead, by the way. So that was cool. And then as I keep going down the road, I'm like, okay, distressed properties, wholesale, nicer properties, novations, got it. I didn't want to get too exotic because, I'm still learning. But then I start running into houses that are real different where I'm looking, they got 2.9% interest rate and they just bought it during COVID. And so that's a home purchase in the best time of real estate. You can also get that home to someone else in the best time of real estate during COVID, that they can take that interest rate. I don't want to get too exotic, but there's different ways to plug a seller in where it benefits them and it benefits a buyer and benefits me. Because if it doesn't have all 3 wins, then it's not going to turn into a contract or a close.
So speaking of novations, do you disclose right away how it will look like? What's
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
the
To me,
process
they're
like?
the easiest. Novations to me are the easiest
So how does the
because
script look like? So what do you say?
a seller, hey, how much are you looking to get for your property? They'll say 250,000. I'll be like, is there any damage or anything like that? They want 250,000. They owe 250,000. So like you can't offer their ceiling. There's nowhere to negotiate. And let's say, for instance, if it's a newer home and the homes are, the neighborhood's being sold for 335 or 340. And they're all the same house, like DR Horton, 340, the whole street. So that home could potentially sell for 340 if it's the same home and they're being sold. They're all the same year. There's all this. It's all Vienna sausages in the same neighborhood. So instead of giving them 250 and me making $0, because I can't make no wiggle room, because an investor's not going to buy that brand new property and say, oh, this is a great buy and hold. Because the interest rate, he could just buy something else. So a novation was how I pitched. I was like, okay, well, hey, because you have such a nice property, you don't fit in for any of those low ball cash offers like I'm sure you've been getting. Am I right? He's going to say yes. I'll say, sweet, you fit in for what I like to call the equity protection plan, or what we call a novation. Now, you probably don't know what novation means. No problem. It's a synonym for equity protection plan, where not only can you get the cash you want, but you can get a bit more since you purchased the home and lived in it for a little bit of time. And even though they've only lived in it for a year, I'm making them feel like that's okay. Like it's not a problem, right? And they say, what does that look like? I said, well, instead of you getting 250 and it might take 25 days, we can potentially maybe get you 280, but it might take 60 days. So I can get you $30,000 potentially for 30 more days. So you give me 30 more days to work with, and I might be able to make you 30 more thousand. Let me run some numbers real quick while we're on the phone. And then I'll do my comps to see days on market, who was the realtors that was working with them, the speed of that house. Because I'm not doing analysis paralysis before I call. I'm letting, them talk, me talk, then I look. And I think that's why I don't procrastinate a lot looking at leads and, figuring things out. I let them tell me. And so after I do a bit of discovery, if I see something, 30 days or less on days on market, then I'll be comfortable, pitching and saying that 30 days, 30 more thousand or something like that. But if I see it being a little bit longer, I'll stretch my novation contract out to maybe 90 days or, 60 business days, at 3 months. And so that, with that being said, it gives me time to get a realtor to, me to take professional photos, which is easy. You go on Thumbtack, you can find anyone on Google, take professional photos. RJ and Cassie taught me that. I can knock that out. I can get the contracts, MLS authorization forms, and then I find a realtor that works hard. That's one of the rarest things you can find in real estate right now, is a realtor that works hard. Now, working a lot and working hard are different. And just understanding real estate, I guess you can say, it's the hardest thing for me. I could find anyone to paint a wall, but I can't find a realtor to list a house that actually knows what they're talking about. But yeah, so you list it with them, and now they take the whole plate of the disposition, and now you just HR, customer service, talk to the seller and let them know about showings. And you're the person in between the seller and the realtor. You're in between. So all communication about any showings, any offers, they come to you first. So you're still the main player in the game. You're the one on the listing agreement. You're the one pretty much in charge. And it allows you to focus on another deal, because you could, I think right now I only have 1 or 2 novations pending, because they're all closing on next week on the 23rd. I got 2 the week after, before Christmas. It allows you to keep pivoting and working on lead generating if you're doing a bunch of novations, because someone else is working on getting it sold. Opposed to a wholesale, you're focusing on getting it sold, unless you partner up with a JV partner, which is exactly what we're building right now, is helping wholesalers get to the closing table.
And the homeowner, does he understand the full process, how it will look like? Or
Yeah, they understand it more than they do in a traditional wholesale deal. With novation, you have to set the expectation, or a week after you sign it, they're going to feel disconnected. I've seen it even when I do set the expectation properly. I almost want to send a checklist. We have a checklist being created now, actually, to send to the customers post signature, like what to expect now, timeline and things like that, because the document does look it is different. They are having a realtor come in. They are having a realtor and maybe another realtor and a family walk in their house, instead of you just saying, hey, my partner's going to come by and take photos. So most of the time in that situation, when it's a nice house, they still live there. And that's a little bit weird, especially if you've never met this seller. And you have to really build that trust, and you have to really build that communication line, and it has to be strong. You do have to be very truthful about what it is you're doing, because, and this is my line that I say when I am being truthful, the line they're going to tell me is, I have a realtor, don't worry, I'm going to sell it. I said, would you rather have one realtor or would you rather have 100 realtors? And he's going to say, what do you mean? I said, if you go list it with your realtor, that's going to be the only realtor you have that is working on selling your property. Which is true, but also not true, because they're all on MLS, right? So I'm saying the truth, but I'm also right here too. You know what I mean? So I said, would you rather have one realtor or you have 100? See, when you work with me, I work with all the brokers, which has all the realtors. So we're going to get the best realtors to work and see your property, working on selling your property. We're going to have multiple buyer realtors come into your home to try to get you the best price on your property, which is exactly what it would look like if they did it normally. I understand. But because I presented it and I tied it up in a really pretty bow, it sounds better. It is actually true, because I will find a better realtor. Why would I hire someone that's not going to be prestigious? He's going to hire his friend. I'm going to hire someone that says, if you don't do it fast, I'm going to fire you. Like, I want communication or something along those lines. So he will get better service. I just paid someone's mortgage in November. I know people say don't do that, but this guy's badass. And that's because the seller's in a bad situation. They trusted me to sell their property. It's been 25 days, but it's Christmas. So December, we took care of his mortgage so that he can afford Christmas, because he needs a mortgage payment, but 25th of December is Christmas. You know, we know it's going to sell. And that's the difference between a wholesale and novation, is you get real connected to the sellers, and you could do stuff like that.
That's awesome. So let's talk about numbers, man. So how many deals you closed so far? Like, how many contracts you signed? You also mentioned about this position. So of course, we want to listen a little bit more about this. I think you mentioned most of them was iSpeedToLead. So just confirm.
Yeah, only two that weren't, and they haven't hit the closing table. I've closed 23 properties since August the 12th, like closing table. I have signed up maybe 30 people, but I have hit the closing table on 23, and I have a couple more scheduled. 23 I have had set up for closing. I've already closed, funded.
How many of them was iSpeedToLead?
23 of those 23. I have signed up 2 other people from that were given to me from another guy to help, but they haven't closed yet. They're scheduled, but they haven't closed yet. But the iSpeedToLead ones are 23 of 23.
Okay, that's awesome. And what's the average assignment fee?
I think we have netted, I have it right here on my sheet actually, maybe 10,000 short of $500,000.
$500,000. Okay.
Yeah, about 10,000 or 15,000 short of about $500,000. I've had a couple $170,000, $150,000 months, and the first month was like zero. So it was like 150, 140, and then December.
What's the biggest deal you closed so far, and where was that?
I got 2 in a row. I actually have, it was $82,000, and then the next day we got one for 27, like funded, like closed the same day. That was a pretty cool one. It closed super fast in one day. So I sold it, dispositioned it in one day. It was crazy. Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, it was Fort Worth, Texas. Okay. So all those 23 were locally, like in Texas. Like, which areas are those?
So I only have homed in on Texas because I wanted to go deep, not necessarily wide. My investor lift account, and I wanted to home in my leads and my sniper, like my focus on the market that I knew based on like my background. Like, I talk shit on the phones. You know, somebody gripes at me, I'm griping back. Like, I'm from the South. So I wanted to talk to people like that. Like, if someone said no, then it's a no. I'm not going to say, hey, call me back. So I wanted to focus on Texas. We will be expanding our investor lift account and expanding our leads. That's why we're scaling and building a team so we don't miss anything. We're having an integrator focus on leads that come in and what happened to them next. So if we do buy a lead, let's say in Florida, it doesn't get lost in the tracks and not serviced properly. Because if it does need to have a novation, we need to have somebody already ready for photos, cleaning, you know, whatever that home needs. So just getting people prepped up for a different demographic is different to train, unless they've already been doing it.
So is it Dallas Fort Worth? So you like do Texas Triangle, or like which areas do you target right now?
I do Dallas, Houston. The one I signed yesterday was in Waco, San Antonio, everything except for El Paso. I just haven't had any good luck in El Paso. I haven't gotten any leads in El Paso, but everywhere else in Texas, I've gotten. Oh, I also did a Tulsa one too. That's
awesome. So yeah, do you mind telling me more about the team? Because it's a lot of contracts. And I know you mentioned you closed a lot of contracts. You've been slower in Dispo. So is it all alone? Like, how does the team look like right now?
The team, they're running their own business, right? they're not necessarily helping my leads or my contracts. I am in here a lot. I am a one trick pony right now. I am doing the integrations, the operations, the sales, the dispositions, accounting, contracts. I'm doing it all right now. Title work. I'm doing the whole step myself, but I just time block my week in my day to day based on priority. And by doing that, I've honestly seen that it really hasn't been a problem. I can close 10 deals a month, not sign. I can do 30, but I'm talking about closing table paid. That takes a amount of time that people don't understand, that it's a whole lot different than saying I can sign 20 contracts. You and RJ know I could sign 20 in 10 days, like over and over, but getting them to the closing table is what takes time, getting stuff from title, death certificates, things like that. So I just time block my day to make sure that everything pending is ready to go. Like, I'll actually show you. Check this out. This is what I have for today. And I told you that I actually just signed one in Waco, and there it is right there. But we got a couple that I just need to babysit and make sure that they get funded.
That's awesome. Let's go quickly over the stuff. Do you help people right now to close deals? I know you just started too,
yes,
and
sir.
You have a lot of things on your plate, but do you help? How is it going? What do you see? Where you're helpful the most, and how, of course, people can connect with you?
Yeah, so I've been helping about 7 or 8 people so far that have been getting into the wholesale real estate business. I've been putting them on iSpeedToLead. They've been loving it, and I've been helping them convert their leads into deals and also show them how to turn those deals into hitting the closing table. My Instagram is Mr. John Looney. We are actually finishing up my YouTube handle today, so I'll be able to send that to you today, because I just bought all this equipment and stuff. We're about to really start kicking butt on content. And I love to train people on how to get things done. I'm a problem solver. Whenever you approach anybody that you're looking for a certain type of help, it's always to go in with what you need help with and not the question. If I were to go up to RJ and be like, "Hey man, what do you think I got to do to close 30 deals?" Like, there's not one answer for that. But it's like, how do you close this deal? He'll show me how to do that. And that's what you have to understand whenever you're looking for someone to help you with something, is you have to go into it with an actual question that has to do with a problem. The problem is not the 30 deals you can't close. It's that you can't do one right now, so we need to figure out how we can get you one.
As our popular category, top 3 advice for people who are watching us, and especially based on you helped 8 other people. So maybe you have some more things to share.
Stay focused. You got signing contracts, nurturing and taking care of your leads. Every lead that you buy from iSpeedToLead, you got to really make sure you put it somewhere, and you got to take care of it and take notes on it. Because at one point in time, that seller was on their phone, on their computer, thinking of really like selling their house. And they didn't just all of a sudden forget about it. So you got to make sure you nurture that. And then the next thing is you got to be a professional on how to talk to investors. Every YouTube video online is teaching you how to talk to a seller, but there's no one teaching you how to talk to an investor about how to calculate, rehab, this, that, the third. So you have to figure out, and you got to get with somebody. And in here, we can teach you how to do that, on how to talk to an investor about why this is a good thing to purchase. Why should I buy this from you just because you said the ARV is 300,000? Where'd you get it from? How much does it need to be rehabbed? How's the roof? And if you don't know, then you sound like you're selling something that you don't know what it is. In this game, you need to know exactly what your product it is you are selling, because that's what the pros are doing. The pros know. They know exactly the age of the roof, air condition, and you got to know too.
That's freaking awesome. And speaking of iSpeed, just a quick question. You still sticking to Coupon Club?
I've changed it a little bit. Coupon here and there, but I've been doing a lot of like having fun buying some of the exclusive or some of the active. Like, so normally I would just buy a couple in the area, but now I'm like really dissecting and like, that's probably a good story. Like, I'll read the description and like, I guess I'm weird. I'll be like, oh, that's a story that seems pretty interesting. I'm gonna buy that one. And then, so I just buy I buy the story, and then I discover what's wrong with the house after I call them. But there's a story in the description, when they bought it, this, and the reason why they want to sell. Like, how'd you buy a house 2 years ago and you're in a financial situation? Like, what happened? So when you talk to them, that tone, that direction of the conversation is, we just bought a house. It might've been a mistake. We can't afford it. What happened? And you got to guide them into a solution. You know what I mean? So that's how, the exit strategies can kind of really help you, is like, if they just bought a house, they probably have no equity, They're probably frustrated. Like if you've ever called a pre-foreclosure, like they're not the nicest all the time. They get 50 people call them and you're 51 and you got 50 other people calling you that just don't know how to really solve problems, just trying to sell them a contract. They're frustrated. And so you just got to be the Superman on the phone.
Man, that's a hell of a story. It's probably one of the better stories I've heard. So excited. And since I'm saying this, let me ask you that. What do you think makes you different than other people? Like other investors maybe struggling or maybe hesitant or maybe, one of the obvious things, you've been in sales for a while. I see a lot of people who worked in sales before, they have a lot of success.
Yes, sir.
What else do you think is there?
I think that when people get into this business, they do a lot of procrastination and they think they have to know everything before they do anything. When in fact you don't. Learn wholesale first. Learn that method first. And until there's a problem, then you ask somebody like an RJ or like me, or ask somebody in your network that has ever ran into this problem, and then learn just that for just that hour, and then see if you can fix it. But there's a bunch of different layers to this onion of this business becoming successful. And so you have to take your time through those layers, because if you go too fast and next month you don't close another one that method, or you don't talk about it every single day and practice it, you're going to forget and you're going to mess up and you're going to make a mistake. And it's better to just go, short, intense focus and write everything down, take notes, learn how to teach yourself things. A lot of us in sales have ADHD. We don't know how to sit down. Learn how to make yourself learn from you, because the YouTube videos and this guy, they're not going to teach you as good as you can teach you. So a lot of hours, a lot of practice, and, stay strong, stay sober, keep your mind clean, keep your body clean, so that your business and everything you do can be clean, and everything will go the right direction.
No, it's awesome, man. Nice to see you again. Guys, make sure to connect with John if you guys have any questions, or just drop the questions right away into our comment section.
Absolutely.
We'll keep you posted, guys, on John's story. And nice to see you again. And if you have any last words for our subscribers.
I appreciate it, man. I love talking to you guys at iSpeedToLead. You guys have helped my business grow really quickly, really fast. I would never use another lead company, not because of anything, but because you guys are the best. I got lucky with the best in the beginning. So I'm excited by that. And if you guys have any questions about your real estate business right now, something that you're struggling with right now, feel free to DM me or say something in the comments. I'll be checking the comments out. I genuinely want to help you. I'm not going to charge you anything to help you. I want to help you close deals, and I want to show you that this can really generate a lot of money. I started this business August the 12th. That day I spent money buying a flip, and I started virtual wholesale that day. 2 weeks later, I started an iSpeedToLead account. Actually, it's December the 13th. So we're, I think, 5 months into business, and we've made about $485,000 or $86,000 paid.
And that's a nice stop. Thank you, John.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you all, guys. Subscribe and stay tuned for more stories. Take care.
Thanks, man.